Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Monday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. Hill is still in Cincinnati, so he'll jump aboard in 15 minutes. He was up there having a watch party. Some Bengals folk up there. We're going to check in with Jeremy. Obviously, a disappointing result for those guys last night in the Super Bowl. We will get to all that and some LSU basketball and baseball as well. Mike Patel and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. We will crank things up here talking about last night's Super Bowl. 23-20 the final score. The Rams beat the Bengals. By now, you know that. It was one of those games you have 2 weeks to lead up to it, and you could probably ingest as much or as little Super Bowl content as you wanted. We didn't talk a ton about it. The 2 weeks leading up certainly did on Friday. But if you wanted to turn on ESPN or Fox or wherever, you could get all the breakdowns you wanted. And essentially, you could have tried to find any storyline that you wanted. It came down to one thing: the Bengals couldn't block them. That was it. I saw one of the most remarkable statistics that I can recall on Twitter earlier today. Let me try to look this up. Pass blocking win rate, pass rush win rate. 18%. The Bengals had an 18% pass block win rate in the finals. That was the worst performance by any offensive line all season. And it's what we've been talking about since the draft. And there was a great picture on the internet on Twitter, if you were scrolling through that stuff today, of Jamar Chase on the last play the Bengals ran, where Joe gets into the grasp of Aaron Donald and ends up winging it, and it's incomplete. Fourth down. Jamar is running in the clear, and Jalen Ramsey's fallen down, covered him. But Joe is about to be face planted by the best player in the league. The Bengals just couldn't block him, and if you can't block him, it doesn't matter how good your receivers are, just not going to work for you. Joe was able to overcome the 9 sacks against Tennessee last night, 7 more, and there was just no answer for the Rams pass rush. It was relentless from start to finish, and they just couldn't deal with it. So I wanted to kind of talk through the game as I saw it. We'll get to some discussion with Jeremy, some betting stuff, some commercial stuff throughout the first hour here. But as far as what happened on the field, the first thing that happened on the field was The Rock grabbing a microphone and doing all the introductions and stuff. That was stupid. I like The Rock. He seems like a great guy, generally in good spirits, great entertainer. Do I need him standing on the field with a microphone sounding like Michael Buffer while their team is standing there ready to kick off? No. It's the biggest spectacle in the world of sport. I get it, but I thought that was really dumb to have The Rock out there doing it. So they started. They actually played some football, and I thought that Zach Taylor had a rough day, and it started going for it on 4th and 1 at midfield on the first drive. I thought that was ambitious, especially throwing the ball. They don't get it, and the Rams take it right down 6 plays later, take the short field and cash it. Thought Zach Taylor made a couple of questionable decisions. That was the first one. Bengals offense just couldn't really get going in the first half. They only mounted that one drive, the 75-yard touchdown drive. They finished off with the Mixon pass in the back of the end zone. Every other drive they had in the first half was under 10 yards. But because the Bengals' defensive front was playing so well on the other side, they kept them in it. The Rams could not run the ball at all, which was great if you were supporting the Bengals, checking them out. It was a wall. They continued to try to run Akers, and he couldn't get anything. He averaged 1.6 a carry, ended up with 21 yards on 13 carries. And that kept the Bengals in it and relevant. And then after halftime, you hit that long one, which was a ridiculous no call on the touchdown to Higgins when Ramsey gets thrown to the ground, and you get the interception, you kick the field goal. Now all of a sudden, they've got the lead. Just like that. But they just couldn't put the nail in the coffin because they couldn't move the ball, because they couldn't block the Rams up front. It was Donald. It was Miller. They were just everywhere, flying. They were running stunts, running games, running twists, just winning on bull rush half the time Donald was. They couldn't deal with them. And the game wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing game we've ever seen. 7 punts in a row in the second half. But the last one was the most costly. I thought the play of the game was the 3rd down and 9 with 6:22 left. Boyd runs a slant. Burrow puts it right on the numbers. He drops it. That was right there around midfield for about the 40. He drops it with 6:22 to play. They punt, and that's when the Rams go on that 15-play drive to go down and win the game. Credit to Sean McVay. They had an opportunity there right out of the gate on 4th and 1 on that last drive, and he decided to go for it. That's when they handed the ball to Kupp on the end around, and he got it. They could have punted that. They had timeouts. There was a lot of time left, and their defense was playing great. I wouldn't have thought it was a terrible decision, but they decided to go for it. They get it. I thought the flag on 3rd and goal when they called holding on the Cincinnati linebacker was ridiculous. There was no indication of holding anywhere, and I thought they just whiffed it. That obviously gave the Rams a first down. It would have been 4th and goal from the 8 with 1:55 left. That could decide the game, but they get that call. And then on the Bengals' last drive, which is the one that everybody's talking about today, I thought that Zach Taylor made a mistake. I liked the call on 3rd and 1 to run it. I would like the starting running back, Joe Mixon, to be in there. He wasn't. And I would like to not run it at Aaron Donald, which they did. And just an unbelievable display of strength by Aaron Donald to take on the blocker and then to grab the running back, Pirine, and put him down. But I liked that call to run the football there and then call your timeout. You had a little bit of time. There's about a minute left. You got time to run it. I thought on 4th down, the last play the Bengals ran where they got to Joe, I thought they should have run it again. At that point, when you still have a timeout, the chains are the priority. And they tried to throw it, and they just couldn't block him. Donald just came flying through. Part of that 18% pass block win rate, worst in the league this year in any game. Couldn't block him, but I would have run the ball there, and I would have run it with Mixon, and I would have called another timeout, and then with a fresh set of downs, tried to go after it. I realize when you get to 48 seconds left, your opportunities are waning, but you can't turn it over on downs, obviously, and that was a disappointing thing for me. It was really cool, though, to watch this game with a rooting interest. I tweeted this last night, and I really mean it, and I was thinking about this after the game. I would have thought, as of 3 years ago, that my fandom is pretty much locked in. Like, I'm addicted to LSU football, basketball, and baseball, and I'm a huge Cubs fan. And I probably watch 145 Cubs games a year. And that's really it. I love the USA Golf when they play President's Cup and Ryder Cup. But really, it's those 4 teams. LSU football, LSU basketball, LSU baseball, and the Cubs. And there's not really room for any more. Like, I don't try to fake it. But honestly, I got on this ride with the Bengals. And I think a lot of y'all are like me. And I'm kind of excited. It's not going to be nearly to the degree that those other 4 are. Those are eat, sleep, breathe. This is not. Like, I wasn't devastated when the Bengals lost. I didn't wake up with a pit in my stomach the way I do when LSU's baseball season ends. Like, I know what that feeling feels like every single year when LSU's baseball season ends. You know when the football season's going to end, so it doesn't quite feel the same. But with baseball, when it ends suddenly, and basketball is the same way, there's just a pit in my stomach because I care so much. And I'm so invested, and it's so much a part of my day-to-day. It's not that with the Bengals. I'm not locking into ESPN Cincinnati like I do ESPN Chicago at times. I don't, follow it as closely as my other teams. But I certainly was invested. Our house had the Bengals gear on yesterday. We were pulling for them. Like, I just didn't ever see that happening. And because of the ride that we went on in 2019 and just how great that was and the indelible mark that the team left on all of us when it was done, you just can't quite quit it. And it doesn't carry as much with Clyde and the Chiefs, or it doesn't carry as much with Terrace Marshall in Cincinnati. In Carolina. But it's Joe. And then you add Jamar to it. I just never would have thought that this would be where I am. But it turns out it is. So I'm excited that they've got a pretty good foundation. They've got to spend a lot of money on the offensive line and get that fixed. I would think it'd be a reasonably attractive free agent place to go because you feel like you're on pretty good footing with the quarterback spot and you've got some young skill position guys to build around. But I'm excited just for next football season to be locked in with the Bengals. The issue is it's really, 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 really hard to get back there. Those of y'all in black and gold know that. You figure the way that they played early on with Drew and Sean P calling plays, they get to the NFC title game in Chicago. A couple years later, they knock on the door and they get there and they win the Super Bowl. And you're thinking, we're set up for the next 10 years. We're going to make it a couple more runs at this thing. And it just doesn't work out. Aaron Rodgers has one Super Bowl. A lot of things have to line up to make this happen. What the Patriots did is an anomaly. And so for the Bengals, you got to wake up this morning and you're like, man, I hope we get another chance. Because you realize you had to beat Oakland. You had to go beat Vegas. You had to beat Vegas. You had to go on the road and beat the 1 seed Tennessee. And you had to go through Mahomes. Look at this conference and what they've got to deal with over the next 10 years. You got to deal with Mahomes over there in Kansas City. You got to deal with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. You got to deal with Justin Herbert, who's obviously playing great over there in San Diego. Like, the quarterbacks in the youth on this side of the NFL is a scary proposition, and the Bengals finally broke through and got their chance, and you feel like they kind of let one get away. And I don't know if they should have won that game, but they certainly had a lead for a significant portion of the second half, and because they couldn't do anything up front to block them, they couldn't cash it in. And so that's one that is going to hurt the people of Cincinnati for a long time. I saw some things on Twitter, and I want to get Jeremy's thoughts on this. He was up there in Cincinnati and certainly, of course, played for the Bengals. I saw some people yesterday tweeting that, you know, it's about the ride and the outcome's kind of inconsequential because of how much fun this has been for the city. It's like, come on, man, shut up. Of course the end of the game is consequential. You got to cash the ticket. You got to win the game. And they didn't get it done, so it's got to be disappointing. Yeah, it's okay to look back at it and say, hey, you know, that was fun. But you also have to have some disappointment. Or if you don't have lows, then you can't appreciate the highs as much. That's at least the way I feel. Again, I thought the play of the game was Boyd dropping that ball on the slant, and I thought that Taylor got a little aggressive on that first 4th and 1 that gave a short field and it ended up a touchdown. And then I didn't love the way that he handled the play call in there at the end without your starter in there. So just a disappointing one for the Bengals, who come up just a little bit short in the Super Bowl. Great for Matt Stafford. You know, it's just I saw a great tweet by Clay Travis today. Said, you know, you spend all this time thinking in the NFL, like if you just get at the quarterback, you'll have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Just get the quarterback. And then you realize that the Lions had him for over a decade and never won a playoff game. That's how dysfunctional things are up there. He makes one move out to L.A. They mortgage everything, go get Odell, go get Von Miller, and it turns out to work for the Rams. And Matt Stafford gets his ring, and I think inches him closer to the Hall of Fame. And certainly Andrew Whitworth, I believe, will be a Hall of Fame player, and that's our Citizens Bank poll question of the day today. Is Andrew Whitworth a Hall of Famer? You can find that on Twitter at 1045 ESPN. I think the answer is yes, and it certainly helps if that was his last game, which we all kind of anticipate that it will be, that he will ride off into the sunset as a Hall of Famer and a world champion. Odell Beckham obviously deals with that injury. That was just really disappointing to see. Was having such a hot start to the game. I think a lot of people had some prop bets on Odell and were feeling really good about it. Then he obviously tears his knee up, and you know, he'll have to rehab. But he did seem to be enjoying himself after the game. He was obviously in tears and was thrilled that they finally climbed all the way to the mountain. Hopefully, Joe and the Bengals have a chance to reclimb that mountain at some point over the next decade or so. It is really, really difficult to do. Loaded show today. Really excited that you're here with us. Jeremy's going to jump aboard coming up next. We'll talk a little bit more about the Super Bowl with him, and then later in this hour, in the second hour, we're going to do a lot of LSU stuff, talk about the basketball team getting that big win over Mississippi State. We'll talk a little bit of baseball in segment number 2. Cody Worsham is going to jump aboard at 1:30 to recap Will Wade's press conference and talk a little bit about the Fighting Tiger basketball squad as well. Stick with us. We'll be back with more. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Tell you about Sync Wellness every single day. SYNC Wellness at synkwellness.com. IV hydration is no longer just for the sick. And there are many health-conscious people out there taking advantage of the amazing benefits of IV nutrient hydrations, and Sync Wellness has set the bar for IV nutrient hydrations in Baton Rouge and the surrounding area with their stellar service, their expansive hydration menu. They've got formulas for immune support, that's something you're really interested in at this time of, this time of year, this time of life with COVID in the air. If you want performance and recovery, they've got that as well. They've got hangover relief. You just simply need to get plugged in after a tough night. They've got all those, just to name a few, and they're ready to meet all your needs. So give Angie and the crew over there at Sync Wellness a call to book, or download the Sync app for easy booking. Sync Wellness at synkwellness.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new Jeep Gladiator Rubicons in stock with $2,000 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $2,000 bonus cash on new 2021 Jeep Gladiator. Shop now at BayouCDJR.com. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast.
Join us for a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill Super Bowl reaction. Joe B. and Jamar, or is Andrew Whitworth riding off into the sunset? LSU and Mississippi State basketball, and it's finally game week for LSU baseball. Hunt and Hill, noon to 2 on Monday, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Out on the open field on a Monday, Hunt Palmer here with you. I'm the first part of Hunt and Hill. My partner in crime, Jeremy Hill, up there in Cincinnati over the weekend, checking on the Bengals Super Bowl festivities. Came up on the short end, but Mr. Hill, how are you?
Not too good, man. Talk about a buzzkill, man. I thought when Jamar caught that little hit, we were cooking with something, and then, Aaron Donald was Aaron Donald, and you know how that went after that.
Set the scene in Cincinnati for me. What was it like up there during the day?
Oh, man, it was amazing. Just everyone's so excited. You can tell just how, Joey B is kind of taking the hearts of this entire town, and then he's earned the name Joey franchise, and just giving everyone that hope that this city hasn't had in a very, very long time. And everyone just knew that we were going to win that Super Bowl, and with everything going the way it did in that game, And then having the ball in Joey's hands that last drive, I think everyone just knew at the bare minimum you were going to tie that game up. But Aaron Donald did Aaron Donald things, and that's why going into it, I kept it on the hush-hush side, but that's why I had the Rams going into it.
All right, so let's talk about the game a little bit. What was your kind of biggest takeaway? Was it just Donald in that pass rush?
Yeah, I think for me, it was the Bengals offensive line, man. They were 3 for 14 on third downs, and they didn't turn the ball over. But when you can't keep drives going and you're constantly punting the ball over and over and over and over again, you slowly start dwindling your chances of winning that football game. And I think when Stafford threw that interception on his side of the field, not being able to get 7 out of that and really put the pressure on the Rams, they were only one possession down the whole time. And you knew it would be a matter of time before they got a drive going themselves. I think the Bengals defense played outstanding. I think I was not expecting them to play that well, just shutting the run game down the way they did and really just doing the job they did on Stafford, forcing those 2 interceptions. I thought, that you turn Stafford over, I thought the Rams would be out of it. But the Bengals offense just couldn't get enough. They couldn't get in the end zone enough to really put enough pressure on the Rams. And you saw the Rams go on that big 15-play drive to really kind of put the pressure back on the Bengals, and they came out on top.
Zach Taylor decided to go for it on 4th and 1 in the first half, in the first quarter, and they did not get it. They tried to drop back and throw it. It set up the Rams up for a short field. Did you like him playing as aggressive as he did early in the game?
That's the way he's played all year. So I'm a fan of do what got you there. That's how Coach Taylor's done it all season. And if you go watch that play again, they had T. Higgins on a short motion. He ran a flat route. He was wide open. Go back and watch that play. T. Higgins was wide open in the flat. There was no one around him for 5 yards, and Joey decided to go to Jamar, who had 2 guys on him. I think Joey just, he had his eyes locked in on Jamar, but he had T. Higgins wide open on that play. It was a good play call, but they just didn't execute it.
What did you make of Joe's performance?
I think Joe did outstanding with asked of him. He got bent like a pretzel and got up like we've seen him do time and time again, got off the mat. Didn't turn the ball over. I think he held the ball longer in some situations where you would have wanted to see him try to get the ball out or at least throw it away. But I think you going against that vaunted Rams defensive line, I think he played outstanding.
Joe was 22 of 33 in the game for 263 yards, had a touchdown, no picks, got sacked 7 times. Let's go to the second half. The Rams didn't have anything going offensively. They had to punt 4 times in a row, but finally, when the lights were the brightest, Matt Stafford made a couple of plays. They got a couple of calls and got down there and scored the game-winning touchdown. What did you make of the last drive?
Yeah, I thought it was outstanding. I thought it was a tremendous poise by Stafford and the crew, and you really saw with that Rams offense, especially when they can't get their run game going, just how important Odell was to that team. Obviously, having Higbee out there and having Robert Woods, that offense wasn't the same. Cooper Kupp really had to make all the catches when they really needed them the most for them to even had a remote chance of scoring a touchdown that drive. But when all the chips were pushed in the middle of the table, you saw Stafford stand in that pocket and make time after time throw, big time throw after big time throw. I know a lot of people are going to get, upset with that holding or pass interference call on Wilson. But when you're from the back judge's view and you see that arm hook, they're going to call that every single time. It's a ticky-tack call, but from that angle, you get taught in defensive rooms not to play it that way because they can't see the full play like we can on replay when we watch 30 different replays with different angles. Yep. You wrap that arm around, they're going to call that every time.
Does last night change things for Matt Stafford?
Oh, 100%. I think he's definitely looked at a lot differently. I think now you can consider him a Hall of Fame quarterback. Just with all the statistics he put up, the 5,000-yard passing seasons he's had in Detroit, the fourth-quarter game-winning drives being ranked where he is now, and in your first season in a new city and a new offense, you take your team to a Super Bowl, which is why the Rams pushed all the chips to the middle of the table, giving away their future, mortgaging their future, first-round picks, their quarterback that they took number 1 all. They shipped it all off there to have a guy like Matthew Stafford, and he delivered. So I think with all that being said, you can consider him a first-ballot Hall of Famer when he hangs a crease up.
How bummed were you for Odell?
It was tough. He was cooking, man. He had the matchups, especially with Cooper Kupp, getting all the attention that he does. And he was seeing number 2 and number 3 cornerbacks that whole game. And he was primed to have a big-time game, especially scoring the way he was. And he looked to have that burst that he, had in his past. And this is very unfortunate for him to, come up that way. Normally when guys have those non-contact injuries like that, he pretty much can book it being an ACL. So it's tough for him, but I know what type of guy he is, the amount of work he puts on his body. He'll be back. But at the end of it, he knows he's a champion, and all the work he's put in to get to this point and to finish it off as being a Super Bowl champion, I'm just super happy for him.
How realistic is it for the Bengals to put together a much better offensive line next year?
Well, they got a lot of cap space. They got a lot of cap space. I wouldn't be shocked if you see them going after an Armstead, a guy like that, throwing a bunch of money at them, going in the draft, moving up. I would say if I were them, to try to find some offensive line help because you got the weapons now. You got a great running back. You got 3 great receivers. You got a young tight end that's great who played in the Super Bowl hurt. Now you got to solidify that offensive line. I'm extremely worried for Joe. This seems like an Andrew Luck track where you got a super talented quarterback and you don't protect him and he takes a beaten beginning portion of his career. I know the type of guy Joe is. He's going to continue to pick himself off the map, but he's human. At the end of the day, these are some big defensive linemen coming after him, game in and game out, and to be sacked 70-something times this season, it's just inexcusable. I think they got to definitely do what the Rams did. Mortgage your future to get some people out there that can protect them.
All right, let's kind of a look at the game. Let's look at your day yesterday. I mean, where did you watch the game? What was the environment like? And then what was it like when it went final?
Yeah. So we're in Over the Rhine in Cincinnati. It's a nice little bar area out there, and man, the people were buzzing. Man, it was a great time to be in the city of Cincinnati, and everyone, like I said, man, they believe that hope that we would possibly maybe make a run back in the day. Well, maybe we can do this. Maybe everyone just had full belief that Joey B could go get this done, and it was a gut punch, man. When he got sacked by Donald, you can just see the life kind of be sucked out of the place, and you just get that close, man. After all the things this city's been through and all the stuff, all the ups and downs, all the turmoil, and to fall short their way with being a touchdown away from being a champ, or possibly give yourself a chance to go to overtime. So it's a tough thing. It's going to take this city a long time to get over this, and when you get this close to the Super Bowl. But the bright future is you do have Joe Burrow, you have Jamar Chase. This team is extremely young, and they'll continue to fight.
So is it more of like a disappointment, sadness, happy they were on the ride? I mean, are they mad at the holding call? Like, what's the overall vibe now?
Yeah, there were some choice words when you saw that flag on that third down. People were not happy about that one, and that's to be expected. It was a ticky-tack call, but like I said before, where the ref is standing there, they're going to throw that every time. But I think for the people here, it's just they're sad, man. I think if this is a team where you don't get to this point of the season right there and you're in the game, it's not like the Rams ran you off the field and you had no chance of winning it. The defense played extremely well. You did everything you had to do to win that football game. You just came up short. So, like I said, it's very gut-wrenching for everyone there.
See the Tiger Hoop Squad on Saturday?
Yes, I did. They got that win. A big time win for the Tigers. That's what we needed. We talked about that. Just them getting back in the right direction, guys. Coming in and doing things they need to do. That's what we like to see from the boys.
You better believe it. You been back on the show tomorrow?
Oh yeah, I'll be back, baby. I'll be
All
back.
right.
I'm actually at the airport now. Heading back to town.
There you go. Travel safe. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see you.
That is Jeremy Hill up there in Cincinnati, former Bengal. He told me on Friday, he's like, "Hey, I'm going up and I'm gonna go check this scene out." I did that for the World Series when the Cubs made it in 2016. I mean, the tickets were just astronomically expensive, so we didn't even consider going in. But I just flew up there to just be around it and see the scene. Very few things in life can create that kind of energy in a city. Sports is one of them. And it's an amazing thing when you're trying to see something that's never been done or see something that no one has ever seen that's around. That was certainly the case with the Cubs having not won in 108 years and the Bengals having never won. Would have been, as we mentioned, the longest snapped streak ever for the Bengals. It's over 50 years without a Super Bowl win. Couldn't get it done last night, but glad Jeremy was able to go up there and hopefully fly safe coming back, and we'll see him tomorrow on the show. I want to remind everybody that we are going to be out on Friday at Walk-Ons on Burbank across the street from Alex Box Stadium. We'll be broadcasting almost all of our shows. Off the Bench will be live from 7 to 10 from Walk-Ons. Then we'll have Jimmy's show, and then we'll be on from noon to 2 at Walk-Ons, and then Matt's show AFR, and then Mario and Musso are from 2 to 3, and then Matt with AFR is on from 3 to 6, all from Walk-Ons. So if you're looking to go out to the box, stop by for us with Walk-Ons for lunch and for some beverages before we head over to watch the Tigers take on Maine in the opener on Friday. I'll have a little segment on baseball here coming up in hour number 2. But when we come back, more Super Bowl talk. I want to talk about these commercials. One I thought was awesome that everybody hated. I want to get to that, and then we'll see how we did on the old betting side of thing. I got a hint. Didn't go so awesome. We'll talk about that next on Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford has 0.9% for 60 months on new Ford F-150 plus $1,000 bonus cash. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $1,000 bonus cash plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on new 2021 Ford F-150. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information, visit garciadidmyroof.com.
For a Monday edition of Early Line, as we recap the Super Bowl between the Bengals and the Rams, who came out on top, and we touch on the rest of the weekend, including LSU basketball versus Mississippi State. Tune in, 2 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Cody Worsham, an hour from right now, recapping the Will Wade press conference. Tigers got a really nice win on Saturday night in the Def Dome. I will be talking about that a little bit later in hour number 2. Wanted to go set the scene in my house yesterday. We talked about this leading up to Sunday's action. FanDuel gave $100 to everyone who referred somebody. So I referred my wife. She downloaded the FanDuel Sportsbook. I got $100. She got $100. She had not bet her $100. You had to bet it. You couldn't just pull it out. I bet mine on the Duke game, some parlay. It hit last week. But she was going to make the bet. So we're scrolling through the FanDuel Sportsbook. We're looking at all kind of things. We're looking at the game, taught her the money line, what that meant, looking at different parlays. She's asking about who's Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham, didn't he play for LSU? Yeah, it's great. We went through this entire FanDuel Sportsbook. It took 45 minutes looking through every single possible parlay, looking at what the odds were, how much you would win if you hit this, how much you win if you hit that. We scrolled through this thing for 45 minutes. She settles on Joe Burrow to win MVP. We could have just bet that right out of the chute. We need to learn about money lines and parlays and what plus 1,200 meant and what minus 263 meant. No, just Joe Burrow to win MVP. That's a loser. I just put $100 on the game. If you saw my Twitter feed, I had two $50 bets. My first one was that the first points would be a field goal. That did not hit. And my second one was that Joe would throw for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. That did not hit either. I needed one of them to hit, and I would have won money. Neither one. 0 for 2. So 0 for 3 Super Bowl betting night in the Palmer house. But we went over some props on Friday going in, some that I liked that I was looking and bouncing off Jeremy. I actually didn't end up betting any of these, but I thought they were attractive. Any offensive lineman to have a receiving touchdown, that was a miss. That obviously did not happen. Either team to score a touchdown on their opening drive. Yes, was one. That one missed. The opening kickoff to be a touchback. I told you about that one. It was. That one would have hit. Both teams to make a 33-yard field goal. I liked that one as well. That one did hit. That was minus 104. So had to lay money on that one. Running back to win MVP at plus 980. That was a miss, obviously, with Cooper Kupp winning it. Will Joe Burrow throw a fourth quarter touchdown? It was plus 128 on yes. That would have missed as well. So just a tough scene in the betting world for me, for my stuff on the show that I pitched, and then also what I actually bet on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Let's talk about commercials. When you sit there, you're waiting through for commercials. The one that I think unequivocally was the best, and it was the most effective for sure. I thought it was really good, but it was definitely the most effective, was the bouncing QR code for Crypto.com. It worked. Me and Alyssa both got our phones out and scanned it. That's pretty good. You used 30 seconds, just had the QR code bouncing on the TV. I'm sure if you were a 73-year-old watching the Super Bowl, you thought your TV was screwing up. But I immediately was like, well, let's scan this. And bam, Crypto.com. I'm not going to use that, but it got me to spring to action. It got people talking about it on Twitter. It was the most effective out of the entire night. You may have thought it was dumb, but you noticed it. So I thought that was good. I thought the funniest commercial the entire night, bar none, was Larry David. It was another crypto commercial. It was the one where the guy invents the wheel, and Larry David's like, I don't think so. And then there's one, Thomas Edison shows him the light bulb. He's like, I don't think that's going to work. And then they're saying, well, we're going to have portable music. I don't think that's going to work either. And then they go to Crypto.com. He's like, I don't think so. And I'm never wrong about this kind of stuff. I just think Larry David's hilarious. Like, everything he does just about makes me laugh. So I thought that he was really, really funny. That one was great. The other commercial that I thought was really good was the Pringles can. When it's stuck on his hand, he's doing everything in his life, and he's got a Pringles can stuck on his hand. They're at his funeral, and it's still on there. And then his grandson, who's at the funeral, sticks his hand in the Pringles box, and it gets stuck. I mean, stupid, yes, but I did think it was pretty funny. You had the one with Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd that I thought was funny, even though I can't remember what it was for. He ended up marrying the zombie thing. I don't remember what that one was for, but I thought it was funny because those two guys are generally pretty funny. And then we were just talking about this off air. Taylor was talking about it. There were so many electric car commercials. It was remarkable, with the dog charging the batteries and all that kind of stuff. Just out of control. Is it me, or the commercials have gotten like worse over the years? Like, I feel like when I was in like middle school and high school, like there was like 10 or 12 just absolute hits. Like Anheuser-Busch would have some stellar commercial with some weird celebrity appearance. I feel like more often than not, they're misses now. Maybe I was just younger and easier to impress, but I just thought they were a lot better back in the day. Back in my day, those commercials were a lot better. And last thing, from an entertainment perspective, was the halftime show. There's now a video surfacing of Snoop, who was using some recreational performance enhancers before the game, before the halftime show, and then went out there. They were playing the hits, and that's all you can ask when you have acts like that, is just play the stuff that we know and we love, and more often than not, they do. I have a just horrendous admission to make. I told this to the morning show guys when we walked in here this morning. They were just finishing up their show. This is just it's really pathetic. As of yesterday at about 6:30 p.m., Dr. Dre could have walked into the studio and I would have had no idea who he was. I had no idea what Dr. Dre looked like. I know his songs. I know beats by Dre. Like I got the whole picture. It's not like I don't know who it is. I didn't know what he looked like. Certainly could pick out Snoop. I could have picked out Eminem. But I had no idea what Dr. Dre looked like. But I saw him last night, so I could probably recognize him now. But I thought the halftime show was awesome. The set was really cool, walking down the stairs and had all the people dancing in the different rooms. I thought that was really good. I think it appealed to a younger demo, and I think it was really, really good. So I thought the halftime show was killer. The game was pretty boring. You have 7 punts in a row. Like, that's a tough sell. And, like, I was invested because of the Bengals. But if this would have been a Panthers, Jets Super Bowl, like, that would have really been a drag. It just, when you can't block and you can't move the ball, it's just very difficult to create an entertaining product. But it was a competitive one. And, obviously, you've got Stafford and driving the team down there to get the touchdown there to win it. So, yeah, as an overall entertainment product, I thought it was good for me, but maybe not as good if you weren't quite as invested in the game, just because the defenses were just wrecking shop every time out. So that's kind of our look through. It was a far more just a terrible effort by me on the betting side of thing. My wife, after learning every single thing in the world about betting, just went with the easiest bet on the board, the one quarterback that she knew. But Joe didn't get it done. Hopefully he has a chance to get back. If you missed anything this hour, it's been heavy on the Super Bowl. Jeremy joined us at 12:15. You can always catch this on demand, 1045 ESPN.com or on YouTube. We appreciate everybody hanging out in the Bayou Ford chat. It now comes to my attention that I have not opened the Bayou Ford chat today, so we're going to change that and go ahead and open that up. We'll do some interacting in there as we always do. A lot of LSU basketball and baseball coming in hour number 2. We'll open things talking about LSU and Mississippi State on the hardwood. Then we'll transition to some baseball talk in the second segment of hour number 2. Cody Worsham will be with Will Wade's press conference, which is going on right now. He will join us at 1:30. So we're hanging out here on a Monday. When we come back to finish hour number 1, if you want to hear me rant, rave, and complain, you'll get a heavy dose of that coming up here to finish off the hour. It's Hunt and Hill.
1045 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Always proud to tell you about Bayou Ford, newest sponsor here on Hunt and Hill. Of course, you've heard them as they've sponsored our chat online for some time now. But now, jumping on with us, I was having a conversation with Ben Gagne over there. Pre-COVID, only 5% of their orders were special order cars. Now it's 3/4 of what they do at Bayou Ford, customized vehicles for you. Over 50% of the people that buy cars from Bayou Ford never set foot on the lot. Just let Bayou Ford customize your vehicle. Go online, BayouFord.com, and don't settle just because you don't think there's any inventory out there. They can get the car that you want. This is one of the biggest purchases you're going to make in your life. You might as well get it right, and Bayou Ford can do that. They can turn your car around in 60 to 90 days. When they have it ready for you, they will drive it up from La Crosse right to your driveway and drop it off. They've got 6 full-time drivers. That's all they do is deliver cars. They also will help you out if you need to get an oil change. They'll bring you a loaner, let you drive that around all day. They'll take your car to the station, to the store. They'll give you an oil change. They'll bring it right back to you. It's an unbelievably convenient operation they've got going over there. Try them out at BayouFord.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz van.
So join us for Monday's AFR presented by Relief Windows. Matt is back in the chair, recapping Super Bowl 56, LSU Mississippi State in hoops, and the rest of the sports weekend. Monday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, I'm going to complain in this segment. It's exactly what you need on a Monday, huh? Just me ranting and raving. I got too many rich people complaining here. So we'll start with the PGA Tour. Charlie Hoffman, who's made $33 million on course, not to mention endorsements, playing on the PGA Tour, got all sad on Saturday because he caught a bad break. He hooked his tee shot in the water, and then he dropped, and as he was preparing to hit the shot, the ball rolled back in the water, and he had to take another drop. He made a 7. After that, he puts this on Instagram. What a joke. Dropped twice, then placed on a small tuft of grass. Turned around, the ball started rolling into the water. I was under the impression the USGA had changed that rule. I was wrong. Had to take another penalty for doing nothing wrong at all. Did everything by the book. It's still mind-blowing that a group of amateurs rule a professional game of golf. I also blame the PGA Tour rules official for putting out a terrible penalty area line where this could even happen. No accountability at any level here. No protection for the players at all. You wonder why guys are wanting to jump ship and go play on another tour. Players need transparency, protection, and consistency. We don't have that under the current governing bodies. So basically, Charlie Hoffman, who playing on the PGA Tour has made $33 million, has to rant and rave and use this stupid Saudi tour that's trying to throw money at everything as leverage. So everything that goes wrong in the PGA Tour, we're going to start talking about, oh, well, that's why guys want to go to Saudi Arabia because y'all can't fix out the penalty area. Stop complaining. $33 million you've made. I don't think it's that broken. Don't hook it in the water and we won't have this discussion. Hit it in the fairway. I get that it's a frustrating deal. It's also not the U.S. Open. It's the Waste Management. Dumb as it is. Calm down. It just drives me nuts now because this Saudi tour is going to throw a bunch of money at people to come play for $1 bajillion and throw $140 million at Bryson or whatever it is. That now every time something goes wrong, these PGA Tour guys are going to go, oh, well, we can go to Saudi Arabia. We can leave. That's why people are leaving. That drives me nuts. Calm down, Charlie Hoffman. Other rich people that are doing things that I don't approve of. MLB, Players Union, and the owners sat down over the weekend, and they got up after 45 minutes. That's not good enough. Make an effort. It's a slap in the face to all of us that want to watch baseball that you can't come to an agreement, and not only can you not come to an agreement, you won't even try. You just get up and leave. And I get we're talking about billions of dollars. We're talking about the livelihood of a lot of players. They're trying to help out the minor league guys, trying to get guys paid more quickly. It's important stuff they're dealing with. I don't want to dismiss the entire thing, but I'm going to get cranky when you go into a meeting room and you leave after less than an hour. Get in there and get something figured out and get it done. More often than not, I'm going to side with the players on this stuff because my thought is with the ownership, when you start nickel and diming as an ownership group, you're in the wrong field. The Cubs ownership has done this because they wanted to play Monopoly with all the buildings around Wrigley Field and then got leveraged when COVID hit and they didn't have any revenue. But in my opinion, when you own a franchise, you work for the fans. The second you start trying to run it like a business, a money-making operation, you need to sell it. Because guess what? You're going to have a hard time to me crying poor, trying money management when you can sell the team for billions of dollars. You want to fix your financial problems? Sell the team. So all this trying to nickel and dime things in this negotiation for these ownership groups, just sell the team. You won't have to worry about money. Now, I realize that's extreme, and there's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek in it. But it is frustrating because we just want to see baseball. And to not even try is so irritating. And it continues to happen. It's not the first time it's happened. Both sides probably have a little bit of fault in this, but I'm not in the room. They're not in it very long either to tell what's going on. But I just want baseball to come back. Not a big deal around here. I get it. You're listening to a guy right now who would like to watch his Cubs, and he can't because we get into meeting rooms and we leave after a cup of coffee. You ought to be in there for 6 hours. Take a lunch break. Grab a sandwich. Get a scone if you need one. But come back to the table and figure it out. This is getting up and leaving, driving me nuts. So that's all these people that are irritating me. All the rich people that are complaining about stuff that I don't need them complaining about. Is that enough? Sounds like enough. Get it figured out. And Charlie Hoffman, shut up. That's enough. Just about to close things down here. It's been a fun hour number one, despite the fact that I just ran and raved for 5 minutes on a Monday, which is probably not exactly what you want to hear. Trying to lighten the mood on Mondays, generally speaking, but I had to get that off my chest. It's been irritating me all weekend seeing these people that are just doing things that I do not approve of in their public space. But if you missed hour number one, you can always catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com. We checked out, looked at the Super Bowl. In the first segment, Jeremy Hill joined us from Cincinnati. Excited to get some more stories from Jeremy when he comes back and is on the show for the whole 2 hours tomorrow. But we talked with him to crank this show up. And then we looked at some betting and some commercials and some halftime show thoughts. And then I just complained about Charlie Hoffman and Major League Baseball here to close things up. But we've got a loaded hour number 2. Will Wade is at the podium right this very second, chatting about his team's win over Mississippi State, as well as what's coming up this week. The Tigers will be on the PMAC floor on Wednesday against the Georgia Bulldogs. So he'll preview those guys, and we'll chat with Cody about that, and maybe a little bit of baseball as well. When we lead off hour number 2, want to talk about LSU's win over Mississippi State on Saturday night, one they really, really needed to get and one that they did. And then we'll start to dip our toe in the baseball waters here coming up at 1:15. I'm going to talk a little bit about the offense and kind of some of the things that I see. Matt Musso and I recorded a video earlier today, about 40 minutes, kind of going through the entirety of the roster. You can catch that on our YouTube channel if you want kind of a season preview. It'll be right there coming up. And then we'll talk with Cody at 1:30. Very much looking forward to doing all of that. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us here on a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill. We will take a timeout. We will come back. We will crank up hour number 2, getting it started with LSU and State on the hardwood. Don't go anywhere. It's Hunt and Hill.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person. Connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Out in the open field on a Monday, Hunt and Hill. Sans Hill today, coming back from the Queen City. We chatted with Jeremy in the first hours. He was up there in Cincinnati for the Super Bowl. We'll chat with him a little bit more extensively tomorrow when he returns. But no fear. I got you here until 2 o'clock. Cody Worsham will be with us in 30 minutes talking LSU basketball and maybe a little bit of baseball. Basketball Tigers on the hardwood Saturday night got a victory over Mississippi State. Final score in that one was 69-65. Got a little hairier than it probably should have late. LSU didn't do things the right way to close the game out for a lot of it, but they did find a way to get the victory. And at this point, with this team, we'll just take that any way we can get it. Xavier Pinson is getting healthier. He played 34 minutes in the game, and that's probably the most important thing is he brings him another dimension. Didn't shoot it great, was 0 of 4 from the three-point line, but he had 4 assists. He runs the show. He had 3 steals. He makes the defense better, and that's what LSU used for the majority of the game was this defense and kind of putting a muzzle on Mississippi State. They certainly did that after they fell down 7-0 early in the game, and then held Mississippi State scoreless for about 6.5 minutes. Which is what this team is going to have to do. They're not going to be an elite offensive team. They're just not. They're going to have their nights where they shoot it really well. But more often than not, it's going to be a slugfest, and they're going to have to depend on their defense, and that's what they did. I thought that they were very, very good on the defensive side, forced 18 turnovers from a Mississippi State team with a veteran backcourt. We talked on Friday about Iverson Molinar and how the best way to go about handling him is it to try to slow him down, or it's to say, hey, he's going to get his, make sure nobody else does as well. And it turns out that's kind of the way it went. I mean, he scored 26 points in the game. He was 10 of 10 from the free throw line, which is, again, a massive problem for LSU. They allowed Mississippi State to shoot 28 free throws in the game. But he scored 26, and the rest of the dogs were pretty quiet. Tolu Smith was good. He had 15 points. He couldn't make a free throw. He was 1 of 6 from the free throw line. But he was 7 of 9 from the floor. And I thought LSU did a pretty good job defensively outside of Molinar going for his 26 points. And everybody just is a little bit better when Pinson is out there. And it makes the lineup just work a little bit better. Gaines is not asked to do as much. And he had 27 minutes where he's not running the point. He's able to grab a couple of steals. He dished out 5 assists, which I thought was really good. Had the 5 turnovers. But I thought Pinson, he just makes everyone understand their role a little bit better. Gaines, most specifically. Eason comes off the bench. He was just brilliant. And he becomes a better player, a more effective player, as those shots start going in from behind the arc. I mean, he was 3 of 6, and that means you've got to go guard him out there, and then he can use that driving ability where he's so good getting downhill, getting to the rim. He finishes the game with 23 points. He grabs 6 rebounds, and I thought was an absolute force in the game. He was plus 11 in his time out there, and I think one of the stories from the game that people enjoyed was Sharif O'Neal. He played 14 minutes for LSU in the game. We thought that it may be a spot for he and Fudge because Mississippi State was a little bit taller, a little bit bigger. They got Tolu Smith down there, who's can be a 7-footer. Garrison Brooks is a big body at 6'9", so you got to deal with that. We thought that they may, and those two didn't play, talking about Fudge and Sharif, in the midweek game because A&M's smaller. Well, Mississippi State's bigger. They needed Sharif O'Neal. He gave them 14 quality minutes. LSU was plus 13 in his 14 minutes of action. That was the best of anybody on the team. He was 3 of 5 from the floor. He made his 2 free throws. I'm not wild about him taking threes, quite honestly. That's not where he's best suited. He only took the 1, so no huge issue. But he grabs 3 rebounds. He gives you 8 points, and I think may be a viable option for this team moving forward. I wouldn't lose my mind if he played some more significant minutes than Efton Reed. You look at Efton, who only gave you 10 minutes in the game, and only gave you 5 minutes in the second half. That is telling to me. And again, I understand this position I'm in here. I'm not trying to denigrate or badmouth a student athlete who's in college, who's a freshman, trying as hard as they can. I think Efton Reed's got a bright future at LSU. I really do. Do I think that he is overmatched at times right now? I do. And I think Sharif looks a little more confident and competent out there. I think Sharif is going to turn the ball over a little bit, which is disappointing, but I mean, Efton's done that a little bit as well. So at the very least, Sharif is 5 extra fouls. At the most, he's kind of a piece that's becoming more important as you move forward. And I think that there's reason to believe that he's going to be a pretty key piece to what this team does moving forward. So, look, a good win. The key is that Pinson is getting better. And I think you're going to continue to hear LSU bang this drum, and we'll see if anybody cares. But you're going to continue to hear them say, when we've got our starting lineup, we've got our guys out there, we're unbeaten. Now, you are who you are, and your record says you lost 6 times in the league and once to TCU. So that is obviously a huge factor here. But they're going to continue to say, hey, we lost our point guard. We had some injuries. Murray was hurt. Days rolled an ankle. Like, okay, when we get our full guys back, we've won all our games. I don't know how much they're going to buy it, but it's certainly out there to be sold for sure. I looked at ESPN's latest bracketology today. Still have LSU on the 7 line as of right now. Obviously, there's an opportunity to play your way to a better spot coming up. But I'm going to stick with what I said. It's not the best idea I've ever heard a radio guy have. I have a lot of bad ideas, but I just don't know that it's worthwhile with this team, with LSU, to look at this and say, okay, if you win that one because you're better than them, and then you can win that one. That one's tough because at this point, one, they've lost to some terrible teams, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt. They've beat some good ones, Kentucky, Tennessee. So I don't know. Plus, I don't know how much of a factor Pinson coming back's been right now. It's 2 different teams. So it's I just can't go game by game and tell you what's going to happen. I can tell you that if you get to 9-9 in the league, you're in the NCAA tournament. But I don't really want to have that discussion of get in the NCAA tournament. We ought to be in the NCAA tournament. We ought to be moving up the seed lines. And you've got to go win some games to make that happen. Get you some scores from the rest of the Southeastern Conference. On Saturday, it was a busy day of hoops in the league. Started in the morning, Auburn, as we predicted, absolutely waylaid Texas A&M, 75-58. A&M had 18 points at the half of that game. Ags just cannot score whatsoever. They started 4-0, are now 4-8, and you wonder how long that slide's going to last. But Auburn gets back on track after the loss at Arkansas. They win against Texas A&M. Kentucky really took it to Florida. 78-57 was the final in that one. Oscar Tshiebwe might be the National Player of the Year. 27 points and 19 rebounds for Kentucky's big man on Saturday. And that's playing against Colin Castleton, who also had a pretty good game, 18-7. But 78-57, the Cats win. They move to 10-2 in conference play. Tennessee hosts Vanderbilt and dominates them 73-64. Zakai Ziegler's been awesome for Tennessee the last couple of games. Scottie Pippen Jr. goes for 23 points as Vanderbilt loses. The game of the day was Alabama and Arkansas. Alabama wins that one 68-67. A little bit of controversy late, but Arkansas just dug too big a hole. They got behind double digits on the road. Just a tough place to go in there and win at Coleman. So the Hogs fall to 8-4 in league play. Alabama is an even 6-6. I can't decide if Alabama's going to the Elite Eight or if they're getting bounced in the first round. They're something to watch. South Carolina goes to Athens and beats Georgia. Thought that was a chance for the Dogs to win. They are 1-11 in SEC play. South Carolina beats them 80-68, so a double-digit win in Athens for South Carolina. And then the nightcap, Missouri beats Ole Miss 74-66. Missouri had 5 guys in double figures in that game. Jarkel Joyner trying to carry the load for Ole Miss, but can't, and Kermit's team falls to 3-9 in league play. Just a heinous loss for the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Cannot allow yourself to welcome Ole Miss to the PMAC and lose that basketball game. Just pitiful that LSU let that happen. All right, some more positive things. LSU baseball opens the season on Friday against Maine. We will be at walk-ons all day on Friday. You'll hear the promos all week long. Off the Bench will be on from 7 to 10 at walk-ons. Then we'll have Jimmy's show from 10 to noon. We will take over at walk-ons, Hunt and Hill from noon to 2. Musso and Mario early line 2 to 3 from walk-ons, and then Matt Moscona's After Further Review is at walk-ons from 3 to 6, leading up to a 7 o'clock first pitch. So I want you to come on out and enjoy Friday. Enjoy opening day. It's going to be a little chilly out, but I can't wait to get out of the box on Friday night. So in the next segment, why don't we go ahead and start looking at some of this LSU baseball roster on the offensive side of things. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill.
Brake Medics, BrakeMedics.com. Brake repair anywhere. If you had issues this weekend, Brake Medics is open. They will make appointments all the way up to 6 o'clock on Saturdays. That's not your standard auto repair issue. But Brake Medics is available. They are available via email, phone, and text 24/7, 365. BrakeMedics.com. You go to the website at the big red tab right at the top to get a free quote. All you got to do is submit your information, and they will come back with a quote. Then you make an appointment. They pull up in the blue and red van right behind your car at your home, at your place of work, and they will service those brakes. It takes them just a little over an hour. Got to let them cool for about 45 minutes, and then you are good to go. They came to my house, changed my brakes. I never left the couch. It's a pretty good deal they got going on at Brake Medics, and every single time they do work, they get you a 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty. So give them a look at Brake Medics, BrakeMedics.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new Jeep Gladiator Rubicons in stock with $2,000 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million-mile warranty. And right now, get $2,000 bonus cash on new 2021 Jeep Gladiator. Shop now at BayouCDJR.com. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Auctioner Health.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Evening edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're live at Rouge Creole in Perkins Row, recapping all of the college and NFL action from the weekend on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Rouge.
We are getting close to baseball at the bus. LSU and Maine Friday night. The Jay Johnson era will begin. Very much looking forward to it. If you want a preview of the entire roster, Matthew Musso and I went through that this morning. It'll be up on YouTube. It's about 40 minutes. We go through the entire, go around the diamond. We go through the pitching rotation. So if that's something you're interested in, want to knock out about 40 minutes of your day at some point this week, you can catch that over on YouTube. One of the things that we unearthed while having the discussion that I think is maybe something that we're not talking about enough. Yeah, we know Dylan Cruz is a stud. I said in the video, and I will stick to this, I think he may be the best hitter that's ever played here. I didn't see Todd Walker. I didn't see Joey Bell. Saw some Cressy. Furness I saw a little bit of. We know the names. Bregman. Motzek was player of the year. But I think Cruz could be the best of all of them. That's not what we're getting to, but he's awesome. Jacob Berry might be a top 5 pick, switch hitter, 20 home run power. Gavin Dugas hit 19 homers last year. Last time anybody hit 20 around here was Ryan Schimpf in 2009. You know that guy can hit. Cade Doty's got All-American potential. Like, these are the guys that we're talking about all the time. Trey Morgan's getting noticed all the time. The other side of this is not the high-end talent. It's the depth and the pieces that Jay Johnson has to work with on this team that could be exciting and could lead to some wins. Yeah, your top dogs have got to carry the heaviest workload. But there are some options here that are exciting. And I think it's just part of having a really good team. You've got depth at catcher. We know that Alex Milazzo last year hit 135, and you can't do that. And we know that they brought in Tyler McManus, who's got some power, but he may not be as good a defensive player. So what you have is the ability to use those guys when you need them. If you think you're getting into a slugfest and you need McManus in there, he can play. If McManus starts a game, you've got a 2-run lead in the 8th inning, and you want Milazzo back there to catch and throw, block balls up, you got Fontenot or somebody in there, or you got Raiselman who's throwing a hard slider and you need the elite defense, you've got the ability to go defense there with Milazzo, which I think is really, really good. That could be an important piece. Same thing goes if you are looking for speed. It's very possible that Giovanni DiGiacomo, who's very fast, doesn't start. Brennan Holt is not going to start. He can run like crazy. Will Safford is fast. You need pinch running because you've got Beloso on base or Gavin Dugas on base who doesn't run as well. You got Milazzo on or McManus on. And you need speed. They've got speed on the bench they can go to. By the same token, in the outfield, we've been talking about Dylan Cruz is playing a lot of center field. That tells me that Giovanni DiGiacomo is probably not a starter at this point. Dugas isn't going to be in left. I think they're going to try to find a bat in right, and I think it's going to be Braden Jobert, although Josh Pearson can play as well. But in the outfield, you've got depth that you can use defensively. I can see a situation where you've got like Jobert in right and Dugas in left, and you want to play defense because you've got a lead late in the game. You can go to Giovanni DiGiacomo as a defensive replacement, and you can go to Josh Stevenson. I've gone out there a bunch in this fall and in the spring, and Stevenson makes an unbelievable catch almost every time I'm out there. That should come as no surprise. His brother's pretty good. But you need to go defense. You need to go speed. They got it. They can do this almost anywhere. Drew Bianco can play anywhere in the infield and play pretty well. He's probably not a starter. So, yeah, while it's really exciting to have the All-Americans at the front, and that's the most important thing, there are some pieces that Jay Johnson can play with. The question is, how do you keep everybody happy early on? We know how Paul Mainieri did things. I could just tell you, if you go out there on a Saturday in February or March and somebody gets an opportunity in the 8th inning to swing the bat and they double off the wall, they're starting the next day. That's how Paul always did it, trying to find a hot hand. I don't know what Jay does. Maybe he wants his best 9 out there and y'all go play. Somebody gets hurt, we'll put somebody else in. I don't know. That's the intrigue of this entire thing, is that we knew what Paul Mainieri was going to do. I had Jason Kelly on the show last week, and we were talking about stretching pitchers out. I went out there on February the 2nd, and Blake Money threw 5 innings. Nobody was throwing 5 innings on February the 2nd under Paul Mainieri and Alan Dunn. It's not right or wrong. It just is. And you were going to get your guys in the first weekend. They were going to be on about a 55 pitch count. It's going to go up to about 65, 70 for week 2, about 80 for week 3, and then you kind of take the leash off in week 4 and you let them go. I don't know what Jay's going to do. There is no, at this point, there's no Alex Lang or Kevin Gausman or Aaron Nola or even a Landon Marceau that you know is going to be a weekend starter who's going to be anticipating going 7 innings every time he goes out there in SEC play. It may not happen every time. That's the plan. I don't even know what the plan is for this group. I don't know if he wants the first guy who goes out there on Friday to throw 5 innings. He may just want him to throw 3. Again, we just don't know. And that was another thing that Musso and I talked about on that video earlier today was, does this make you nervous the way they're handling this pitching? And it does to me. It can work. You can get outs stacking pitchers. I just prefer to have a guy that's going to go 13th in the draft starting me on Friday. That's just a more comfortable feeling for me. They don't have that. We went through the entire staff on the video, but we kind of threw our hats in the ring for this coming weekend. We think Fontenot starts Friday. We both think Hilliard's going to start on Sunday. It's a question of Saturday. He said Javen Coleman. I said Blake Money. I think Riley Cooper's a reasonable guess. A lot of options again. I just don't see anything set in stone. I like things set in stone. That makes me feel better. But it's exciting. And it's going to be really exciting to get out to the box and see what they do. I want to conclude this baseball segment. We'll get to Cody Worsham here in about 5-8 minutes. Talking LSU basketball. Will Wade was at the podium a little bit earlier. See what Cody saw from his team on Saturday, and what they've got moving forward. But want to finish up this baseball talking about my expectations for the season. We'll certainly get into that a little bit later this week as well. I'm tempering my expectations a little bit. That's not fun. I get it. Everybody's through the roof, and I think this team can win the national championship. But I also don't expect them to be a top 8 national seed. Why? I'm scared about the pitching. I just mentioned that to you. But I just have a hard time getting through this schedule. The road trips are offensive. Mississippi State, you think that's going to be an easy place to play this year? Coming off a national championship? Baum Stadium in Arkansas, that real inviting place to go? They're headed there. Brand new stadium in Gainesville. Think they're going to have anybody throwing 100 miles an hour? Probably 6 of them. Same thing in Nashville. LSU's going there too. Last week of the year. Better have some hay in the barn before you get there. But if that's 12 league games of the 30 are at Mississippi State, at Arkansas, at Florida, and at Vanderbilt, what's realistic to win there? You go 6-6, that's a hell of a run. Then all of a sudden to get to 20 league wins, which is what you need to lock in a top 8, it gets tough to run the numbers there. And I guess you could just look at me and say, well, they're not going. Just don't go 6-6. Well, that's easier said than done. You hear those places they're going? That ain't easy. Heaven forbid they go 4-8. I mean, that would tell you they're not as good, but that doesn't. You could be a really good baseball team and go 5-7 over those 12. Really good. So that, to me, makes it more difficult to find a path to be a top 8 seed. I think we said this on the show this morning. I think if LSU wins 18 SEC games with that schedule, they'll be a top 8. Now, I have nothing to back that up. It's just my gut feeling. But it's just going to be difficult. Once they get into the postseason, they're going to be a nightmare. They got talented arms, and they got guys that are going to hit like crazy. So they could go on the road and win a super. Go on the road and win a regional. I just don't want them to. I'm sick of having to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning to watch my baseball team in the regional in Eugene. How about a home regional this year? That'd be preferable. But the point I'm making here is it's just, that's why my expectation for the season is just a little bit damper. It's the schedule. It's not the guys. It has a little bit to do with the pitching, but the lineup is a championship lineup, and there's talent in the pitching staff. That schedule just frightens me. Call me a wuss. I get it. Say you're scared. Yes, I am scared. I'm scared of going to Nashville and playing Vanderbilt. That's scary. Baum's going to have, over 3 days, 40,000 people when they go to Fayetteville. Going to be tough. Champs in the Bayou Ford chat. You can host without multiple frontline starters. You cannot win a natty without it, Hunt. I don't know how you can say that. We'll see. I can't wait to get in the box. We got some special things teed up for Friday's show. We're going to try to get that hammered out here over the next couple of days, but I've teased it a couple times, and we'll continue to talk about it. Coming out to Walk-Ons on Friday. We'll be broadcasting from Walk-Ons noon to 2, Jeremy and myself, and once we get off the air, we'll be enjoying all that comes with Walk-Ons on a baseball game day, which is some delicious food, some wonderful cold drinks, and just a lot of energy in the air. That's the best thing about this baseball season. There's just so much energy. There's so much buzz. There's so much enthusiasm and excitement because of the hope that comes with the new era in anything. And we're going to see it again this fall in football. But for right now, it's on the hardwood and on at the box, and we're very, very excited to get this thing cranked up. So a lot more baseball talk as we move forward with the day. But as I mentioned, go to YouTube. Musso and I have about a 40-minute video detailing the entire roster. You don't want to miss that. Speaking of things you don't want to miss, Cody Worsham over there at LSU, digital media reporter. I saw him at the game on Saturday. We'll talk with him about this basketball squad next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Bayou Ford has 0.9% for 60 months on new Ford F-150 plus $1,000 bonus cash. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. And right now, get $1,000 bonus cash plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on new 2021 Ford F-150. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric. On Tuesdays, Off the Bench, we officially step foot in the long dark of the football offseason, but we'll have basketball and baseball to light our paths, and a brand new OTB mailbag. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LSU gets in the win column on Saturday against Mississippi State. 69-65 was the final. I ran into Cody Worsham in the PMAC Saturday night. He joins us now. Cody, how are you?
What's up, Hunt? Good to be on with you.
Appreciate you doing so. All right, what does Pinson give this team?
Pinson is the stabilizer on this team. He's the quarterback, and when you take your quarterback out, things fall off. So he gets everybody in the right spot. He can get them a bucket when things break down. When the other team makes a 6-0 run, he can kind of get to the rim and get to the free throw line and stop the momentum. Just got a real good feel for the game, and the biggest impact he has is, like, Hunt, he's the only true point guard on this team.
Yeah.
Eric Gaines is a one in terms of the way he handles the ball, but he's not a facilitator yet. In fact, he had one of his better facilitating games last time out. He had 5 assists, and that's two short of his season high against Mississippi State. But he still had a few turnovers, and he doesn't have the same feel that Pinson does, where the other team makes a run. You know, Gaines' instinct almost when the other team makes a run is to go full speed the other way and try to quickly put it to a halt. Whereas Pinson just kind of comes down and makes sure that you get a good shot, and that's going to develop. I mean, Pinson's a senior, Gaines is a sophomore. That's a skill that takes time to develop. But Pinson's really, really developed it well. He can get you a bucket. He can get a bucket for somebody else. And he just settles this team down in a roster that doesn't have a lot of guys who are guys that can settle others down. He can do that for this team.
College basketball is a subjective sport when it gets down to the tournament. They pick your teams and you throw them into a bracket. Do you think that the committee will assess this Pinson injury when they are looking over LSU?
Man, I don't know what the committee's going to do.
Exactly.
I never know what they're going to do. I never know how they're going to do it. LSU will probably end up underseeded again. It just seems to always happen. I think they'll probably take it into consideration. I think what's LSU's record with Pinson? It's with him at full health. I mean, with him in the starting lineup and LSU's normal starting lineup, they're 15-0 now.
Yeah.
So they are a different team when he's not out there. He brings out the best in Tari Eason. I think they'll weigh it in. We'll see, but I think they should weigh it in.
All right, let's talk about the front court. Minimal minutes for Efton Reed on Saturday, and Sharif O'Neal, we saw he was plus 13 in his 14 minutes of action. Do you expect to see more of Sharif moving forward?
I think it's going to be matchup dependent, really. I mean, Efton, he played 22 minutes against A&M. He had 8 rebounds and looked a little more, physically up for that game. And I don't think Sharif even I feel like he didn't even play in that game, if I remember correctly.
He did not. He and Fudge did not play.
Yeah, and so but then he comes in and gives you a shot in the arm offensively against Mississippi State and had 8 big points. He hit 2 big free throws down the stretch. Gets his hands on a lot of balls around the rim, and even if he only ended up with 3 rebounds, he was around the ball a lot. So I think it'll just depend on the matchup. I don't know enough about Georgia to say which player is preferable in that game, but I think you've got your kind of your top 7 rotation, and then you sort of figure out how much is Sharif a factor in this game. How much is Justice a factor in this game? Is there still a place for Fudge, who hasn't played the last couple games? So I think those kind of that 8th person will sort of rotate, or the weight between the 7th guy and the 8th guy will shift a little bit. But as long as you have that top 6 or 7 in place, that's going to be pretty steady.
You said you don't know a ton about Georgia. I can tell you this: Severe Wheeler is not their point guard anymore. He plays for Kentucky. Katie Johnson is not their 2 guard anymore. He leads Auburn. And then you talk about their 3-man, plays for Ole Miss. Like, it's just a mass exodus, and now they can't win a game. It's a tough scene over there for Tom Crean. Let's talk about Eason. 23 points in his 28 minutes on Saturday. He's knocked down 3 of 6 from 3. When he starts making that, and you've got to go out there and guard him, it just makes the driving even better. He's a tough matchup.
He's shooting 44% from 3 in SEC play, and now it's 11 of 25. So I guess it's a somewhat minimal sample size. To me, it's large enough to show you that he can shoot it. Like, if you filter out LSU's played 15 games this year against what Ken Palm calls tier A or B opponents. It's top 50, top 100 opponents. He's shooting 41% from 3 in those games, 15 of 37. So that could drop off if he goes a little cold. But yeah, that opens up his entire offensive game. I got a little frustrated early against Mississippi State because I felt like he was settling for him, and then he just started knocking him down. And then they got a little tighter, and he was able to put it on the floor. And he's at his best when he's getting to the free throw line a bunch. He's one of the better. He draws like 7 fouls a game or something in SEC play, which is one of the better numbers in the conference. So that's when he's at his best. But you add that, and that's where he goes from getting your 14 to 16 points a game to your 25 and 23, which he's got the last 2 times out. So he's been unbelievable. Hunt, I think, even better than as good as he's been offensively. To me, he's a defensive monster. Like the last couple of games, 2 blocks, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 3 steals, 5 steals the game before that, 2 blocks, 3 steals before that. Like, NBA scouts, when they look at numbers, they call them stocks, steals, and blocks. Like they love stocks at the college level. And Tari's he might be the best in the country right now as a shot blocker and a steal getter. He changes the game. He makes winning plays all the time. He's the engine that makes this team go.
I talked a lot in December about how together this team seemed to be, how positive their energy seemed to be. Now, when you're winning, that's an easy thing to do. Then there were some injuries. You lost those games. Maybe there was a bit of a lull. What do you think the vibe of this team is, the energy level of this team is right now as we turn for the second half of February?
I think it got a real test during that stretch. I think those guys had a lot of reflecting and looking in the mirror to do. I think it's trending back in the right direction. You're right. When things are going well, that's when it's easy to stick together and be united and be close. And everyone to get along. And then as soon as things start going bad, you start seeing the divisions pop up, and it's how you address those things. And I think LSU did a good job addressing those when they got to the back end of that skid after the loss to Vanderbilt. But I think that's where Pinson comes in, right? Like when you have divisions, you're really looking for someone inside the locker room to heal them. Like coaches can be as good as they want, they can be as close to the team as they want. Nothing means more than when it comes from inside the locker room, and when it comes from somebody that's playing and playing a big role. And so I think as Pinson was able to work his way back in and kind of show the team, rather than the vocal leadership and saying the right things, like it's about going out there and doing the right things every day. And so I think once Pinson got back into that role, they sort of settled back into the vibe that they were looking for. So we'll see. They've got to sustain it. Beating A&M on the road is good. Beating Mississippi State at home is very good. This week you have 2 winnable games that you're going to be favored in both of them. You got to take care of business, but then you've got a tough stretch down the end with 3 of 4 against Kentucky, Arkansas, and Alabama, 3 of the better teams in the conference. So it's all well and good right now, and you won 2 in a row, and everybody's happy. But you got to sustain that when adversity comes, whether it's inside of a game and you're struggling, you go on a 8-0 slump, or whether it's over another game that you lose, bouncing back from that. And so I think they've developed that and they've learned from it, but they got to put it in practice next.
What do you think Will thinks of this team right now?
I think he feels like they're still getting healthy. Even though Pinson's out there, I don't think he's 100%. I think Days is probably still a little banged up. I think he's going to like this team as it gets to the postseason because of their ability to guard and to shut teams down over long stretches of time. And the biggest thing when you get to March is you got to be in a position to give yourself a shot. So you shoot for the top 4 space in the SEC, which is not off the table for LSU. They've got some work to do if they want to get there, but I think they're maybe 2 games back of that right now, with some teams to play that they could sort of control their fate against. But then when you get to March, it's really about matchups. And so I think you get a team that maybe is a little more defensive-minded and struggles offensively. LSU is probably going to shut that team down, and so can they get enough done offensively? I think he's going to like their ability to navigate March. Defense does tend to carry you through in the tournament a little more than offense. You need both, but if you can get stops in March, you got a chance every time. So I think he feels really good about that aspect. They just got to keep getting healthy. They got to weather the storm. Going to Kentucky, going to Arkansas, 2 really tough road games. I think we'll learn a lot about this team in those 2 games.
Who do you think the best team in the league is?
I think Auburn's the best team in the league. I think but Kentucky might be right there, especially the way they're playing lately. I haven't heard how bad Ty Washington's injury was this weekend. I saw it going around. It seemed like Calipari maybe said he was day to day. If they're at full strength, I think they're really, really good, and I think Auburn's really, really good. I think that's kind of your 2 top-tier teams in the SEC, with everyone else sort of falling maybe a notch below that. I think LSU's got an argument to be in that case. Tennessee's playing great lately, but I think offensively they can be, although they're scoring better lately, I think they can be slowed down offensively. But I think that's sort of the first tier is Kentucky, Auburn. You probably got Tennessee, Arkansas, the way they're playing lately in that mix. And then LSU maybe in that second tier. Certainly were early in the season. Certainly played like it for large stretches of the last 2 games. Still some bad habits, though, in the last couple of games. Even the win over A&M, even the win over Mississippi State, some stretches where they didn't look good. But they have that ability to just kind of suffocate you for 4 or 5 minutes at a time defensively. And when you do that, you're going to win a lot of games. So, I think Auburn and Kentucky are the top 2 right now, and then everyone else is trying to punch up to them.
Shaping up to be a really fun spring over there on campus at LSU. Last one here, and we'll get you out. We appreciate it, Cody. Any nuggets you got or anything you've seen on the baseball side of things as we get ready to crank up on Friday?
Yeah, not much. I've been out there a couple times and just watched them. Here's a real advanced take. Dylan Cruz, very good baseball player. Excited to see him for 2 more years. But Jacob Berry, every time I go out there, he's crushing the ball. I think that top 5 in the lineup is going to be the best in the country. When you've got, Gavin Dugas is your 5-hole hitter and sort of the 5th, quote unquote, 5th most prominent offensive member, and he hit 19 homers last year. This is a really, really good lineup. If they can pitch adequately, and I think they've got enough arms to do that, they're going to win a lot of games. Now, the pitching staff isn't on the caliber of the lineup, and so they got some questions to answer there, but man, these guys can hit.
Appreciate you jumping aboard, Cody. Have a good week.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Cody Worsham, LSU digital media reporter over there. One thing I wanted to touch on here on the basketball side of things. I think what Saturday and last Wednesday told me, last year I made it pretty clear that I thought LSU's best matchup were going to be a team that really hangs its hat on defense. That's the team that I think LSU has the best chance to win because I think LSU will beat their defense with their scoring ability, with Javonte, with Cam. I mean, I don't care how good your defense is. He's going to go score 22. So they were better. If you were playing a team that was really good on offense, LSU wasn't going to be able to stop them, and I think that would get away from them. I think that the opposite from last year is true with this LSU team. The best matchups for LSU are the teams that are really poor on offense because LSU can just suffocate them. And really, when Molinar didn't have the ball in his hands on Saturday, Mississippi State wasn't great. Tolu Smith's numbers are good, but he can't really create that. So to me, the best matchup for LSU are going to be the teams that just aren't good on offense, that are good on defense, because LSU will figure it out offensively, and they're going to hold you on defense. That's kind of what I am drawing over the last week when I watch them play A&M, watch them play Mississippi State. They were able to build leads and go on runs because those teams just weren't good enough offensively to break you on the defensive side. Teams like Auburn, even Arkansas, Alabama, they can, and that's where it gets tougher. But if you're not very good on offense, then I think you're in huge trouble playing against LSU. Cody and I were talking about that a little bit on Saturday. All right, we got one more segment left on a Hill-less edition of Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill.
FanDuel Sportsbook hooking new users up with an epic Winter Olympics bonus. Place your first bet on any Olympic sport risk-free. New users can get up to $1,000 back in site credit if that bet doesn't win. You can bet on the women's hockey team to go ahead and win the gold. You can bet on curling if that's your thing. People drive me nuts with the curling. Everybody says they love curling. You don't love curling, but hey, you can bet on curling. That may help you like curling a little bit more. So easy to use. The app is, as I was telling you in the first hour, my wife learned how to use it. She's not exactly a sharp on the betting side of things. It's safe and secure. You can get paid in as little as 2 hours. So if you download the FanDuel Sportsbook app with the promo code 1045ESPN, you can get that first bet risk-free up to $1,000 on the Olympics. So go ahead and download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and get after it. Place some bets. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-770-STOP.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
A Monday edition of Early Line as we recap the Super Bowl between the Bengals and the Rams, who came out on top, and we touch on the rest of the weekend, including LSU basketball versus Mississippi State. Tune in, 2 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Closing up shop here on a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill. Got an interesting tweet from Shea Dixon earlier today talking about Andrew Whitworth. You got to feel great for Whitworth, who very likely played his last NFL game last night and would potentially go out a Super Bowl champion. He was a 5-star coming out of high school out of West Monroe. He was also the number 4 prospect in the state of Louisiana in 2001. In front of him were 5-star Michael Clayton, 5-star Marquise Hill, 5-star Marcus Spears. Of course, Nick Saban kept all 4 of those guys at home, and they would form the backbone of a national championship team in 2003 when those guys were in their 3rd year at LSU. You know, the question, it was our Citizens Bank question of the day, was, is Andrew Whitworth a Hall of Famer? And as you look at it, if this is it, he was a 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 1-time second-team All-Pro. So All-Pro honors 3 times. He now has a Super Bowl championship to his name. It's going to be close. I certainly could hear the argument for it. I could see it not working out too. But either way, he's going to go out a champion if this is it. Y'all are pretty resounding in your votes for the Citizens Bank poll question of the day. 91% say yes, 9% say no to Andrew Whitworth being in the Hall of Fame. I would hope so. That'd be great. Put another Tiger in the Hall of Fame. He could join Alan Faneca and Kevin Mawai as offensive linemen from around that time. Obviously not at the same time. Around that time, who were Hall of Famers. And I think Matt Stafford took a step towards the Hall of Fame last night as well. He's going to be in the top 10 all-time in passing yards, continue to climb that up, and now he's got that ring. And it's just so easy to cast aside a decade in Denver and say, wasn't his fault. Never won a playoff game. Wasn't his fault. It's a disaster up there. Changing coaches, coordinators. I mean, what does it say about the Lions? There's so many quotes you could bring about the Lions. One is Stafford toils in anonymity for a decade and then leaves and immediately wins a Super Bowl. 2, you've had 2 of the most talented players to ever play the sport, and they both just bailed midway through their career because they were done playing for the Lions. Barry Sanders is like, yeah, that's it. I'm out. Calvin Johnson still had a ton of tread on the tires. Yeah, that's enough. No more playing for the Lions. I've had it. And that's what leads a fan base to create shirts that say Detroit Rams, because they're all pulling for Stafford because their team can't get there, so former players from their team can get there. Felt great for Stafford last night. Great for Whitworth last night. Bittersweet with Odell. He looked to be thrilled that his team had finally done it. He was able to walk off on his own power. Looked like the knee was a little bit banged up. And you hate to see that for a former Tiger, especially one that looked like he was going to have a big game. A big, big game. Rams get it done now. My eyes turn to the Bengals offensive line, and everybody else around here turns to the Saints quarterback spot. And the NFL clock that never stops just keeps on rolling. We're about to get ready to roll for the pro days and combines. The draft will come up before we know it. Be back in the teeth of it. If you heard T-Bob's teaser for tomorrow's show, stepping into the darkness of the football offseason. It's never really the offseason. The NFL makes itself relevant all the time, and certainly will continue to do that in this news cycle, and we'll see what the Saints are able to do with the quarterback spot. That'll be the most important thing down here for the black and gold. So again, Citizens Bank poll question of the day, Andrew Whitworth, is he a Hall of Famer? 91% said yes, he absolutely is. We appreciate y'all for voting in the poll at 1045 ESPN. If you missed anything on today's show, you can always catch it online, 1045ESPN.com. We open things with our Super Bowl recap. Jeremy jumped aboard from Cincinnati. He was up there watching the Super Bowl with some Podnas, and we'll get some stories from him tomorrow as he returns. But he joined us at 12:15, talked about betting and some of the props, some of the halftime show, the commercials, all that. And then I ran and raved and complained at the end of the first hour. If you want to go check that out, I yelled at Charlie Hoffman and Rich MLB owners because they're all irritating me, and I wanted to make that very, very clear. And I think I did at the end of the first hour. In the second hour, we opened things up talking LSU hoops against Mississippi State. I talked about some baseball. I think that Dylan Cruz can potentially be the best hitter that ever played at LSU. And then gave you my kind of tempered expectations because of the schedule. So if you wanted some baseball talk at 1:15 is where we did that. Cody Worsham at 1:30 from over there at LSU. So all that, 1045ESPN.com and on YouTube. It's where you can find the Bayou Ford chat. Appreciate all of you people for hanging out with us all day. If you could throw us a like on the way out, we would really, really appreciate that. I teased this a little bit earlier today. I'll do it one more time before we get out of here. Matt Musso and I sat down for about 40 minutes and talked about this entire LSU baseball roster. If that's something you think you'd be interested in, go to the Hunt and Hill YouTube page, 1045 on YouTube, and you can find it right there. We're going to do a little bit of baseball content as we move forward here. That's going to do it for us on a Monday edition. Jeremy will be back tomorrow. Matt's going to drive you home 3 to 6 on AFR. Jimmy, it's game time from 6 to 8. Coming up next, Early Line with Mario and Musso. See you tomorrow. It's Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill.
At All Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for